Hey, what's up? Mr. Bill here. I just wanted to plug some dates before you listen to the podcast. I'm playing on December 12th in San Francisco, 13th in Nevada City, 14th LA, 18th Denver, 19th Santa Fe, 21st Columbus. In January, I'm playing the 11th in Philly, 17th in Montreal, 18th in Providence, 24th in Pontiac. I have an EP out on my own label, Belegal Beats, called the IDM EP. I have collabs on there with G-Space, Ulasile, Woolg, and Funny, and you can find the links for that on any of my social media, basically. If you're listening to this podcast, make sure to rate and comment on the Apple Podcast app. Apparently it helps us a lot. And also, if you go to the show notes for this episode, there's a link to my Discord channel, and you should join it and ask some questions there so I can address those questions in future episodes with future guests. Thanks. Enjoy the episode.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Hey, you are listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Hey, you're 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 listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast. Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, welcome to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, of course. I'm actually not super familiar with your project. I've listened to a few tunes. I listened to the EP you did on Deep, Dark and Dangerous, which was, what's that, Truth label, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are sick. I really like their music. I actually really like their sets. They're like fun to listen to.
Yeah, they're cool. And I don't know, have you seen both of them play, or like either, like they have different styles. So like, yeah, Tristan plays like a much different set than Dre.
Okay.
So if you ever see them like separately, it's kind of cool. But then like when they're together, they have like a really nice blend, and it works well. And it kind of like reflects in their music too.
How would you like describe the difference between a Tristan set and a Dre set?
Dre, and I think, well, like I said, like I think this like is true in like their writing of music too. Dre tends to have kind of the more aggressive, kind of mean, dark, dangerous.
Right.
I'm paid to say that. Kind of the more dangerous, kind of dark sound like that. And then I think Tristan really kills it with like the melodies, and so when they're playing live, Tristan sets I think are a little bit more spaced out, and I think he tends to play a little bit more of the melodic songs, and then Dre's sets tend to be more just energetic and
Okay, I think I know why that might be. I think it's probably because Tristan lives in New Zealand and Dre lives in America, right?
Go on.
Well, I think like I notice when I spend a lot of, because I'm Australian, right? So
yeah.
I notice when I spend a lot of time in Australia or pretty much anywhere else, my sets will become like softer, and my like writing style will become softer, and like everything about my music will become like just a little bit softer and a little bit more progressive.
Really?
And yeah, totally. Like, I mean, I started out as an IDM glitch artist and then moved to America and basically became a fucking rhythm artist. So like,
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So when you play shows over there, is that like you're just saying like the crowd reaction, like they're more into the?
Yeah, so I was just over in Australia, right? And I just played a bunch of sets, and almost after every set, people were like, it was way too heavy for me because I was just playing the same type of set as I would play in America.
Really?
Yeah, and I think like probably because Tristan is over there, he's like more exposed to that sort of appreciation of more progressive style and stuff like that. So when he comes over here, he just does that as well.
Yeah,
and I feel like Dre's been living in LA now for a bunch of years.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I mean, he's been touring the US for what seems like, I mean, he was like they both came over when they first got it. You know, when they first started coming over and playing shows here. I think Dre just like fell in love with it and has pretty much lived in the US since.
Yeah. It's a good place if you're into electronic music. It's much bigger than anywhere else in the planet.
Yeah, well, that's what all the like UK dubstep guys tell me is like they all love coming over here to tour because they can come over here on like a 2 or 3 week tour and play a show almost every night.
Yep.
Whereas in the UK, they're playing maybe one show a month. You know?
Yeah, there's not a real circuit there like there is here.
Right.
Same in Australia. There's not like a circuit there, really.
Yeah.
You can do like Cairns, Brisbane, Canberra, Sydney, Melbourne, Hobart, maybe Perth. Like there's like 6 cities.
Do they do like? Are there a lot of like weekly or like monthly events there?
Not really. No, I mean there might be now in like Sydney and Melbourne and like the bigger cities, maybe for shit like dubstep and house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But definitely not for like the more bespoke and like boutique like deeper shit and more progressive stuff.
Because in the UK, there's like that doesn't exist. There's no such thing as weekly events, or monthly events, really.
Well, I think like a lot of that comes down to like economics, right? Like in America, there's like a lot of reward for having a weekly event because as a promoter, you can make a lot of money doing that, and then your whole job can just be going to shows and like sure, like during the week you have to email people and like figure out who's gonna play the show in 3 or 4 weeks time or however long. Then you have to do a bunch of promotion and all that kind of stuff. But like for the most part, that's still a pretty decent job. Whereas like I feel like in places like Australia or UK or maybe even parts of Europe, trying to put on a weekly, it just becomes more risky than anything. Whereas in America, it's like not that risky, I feel like.
Why do you think it's different there though?
Just the people are different. I think like people in America are just down, man. Like they're just keen to go and party all the time.
No wooks over there.
Yeah, there's not enough wooks. That's the problem. There's more wooks.
Yeah. Well, have you ever been over to Europe?
So I spent the first few months of this year in Spain.
Okay.
But I was just teaching at Berkeley. So I was like teaching a master's degree over there.
Is that what
Incanti?
Elisha
is currently doing that.
Yeah,
that's the exact same job I was doing.
Nice.
So do you know Incanti from Zebler Incanti Experience?
I mean, I know.
Oh, you know of him?
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, he's playing the show next week in...
right, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those listening, if this is out, I think this will be out before I play that show. I'm playing in Nevada City. Come to the fucking show. Yeah, so Ben Incanti, he developed like the whole master's program for electronic music there, and he wanted to take some time off at the start of the year, so I did that. But I didn't do any shows there, and pretty much what I gathered from being there was... everyone there is just into like house music and shit.
Yeah.
And like Moonbaton and stuff. Yeah.
It's definitely more clubby kind of thing in Europe from what I've seen.
Yeah, certainly. I think, I don't really think dubstep is a big thing there at all.
Am I too quiet for your mic?
It's okay. I'll keep adjusting it and just like, I don't know. The guy who like edits it will figure it out.
All right, I lost a little bit of my voice last night.
Oh yeah.
I don't get out much, so.
Yeah. How did the show go last night? Was it sold out?
Yeah. Nice. Sold out.
I love the Black Box, man. It's like somebody like, I wouldn't consider myself a big artist and I wouldn't consider you a big artist, but it's like mid-tier, like smaller electronic music artists can go into the Black Box and just bam, it just sells out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that size is just like probably my favorite size to play.
It's me too. Yeah, like 350 or like 300.
I think it's like 350, and sometimes they go a little bit over.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's right around there, and because they have the 2 rooms, it gets a little bit complicated. But yeah, when that main room is packed out, it's just like the sound in there obviously is as good as it gets for an indoor venue.
Dude,
I think
it's so good, yeah.
And then when it packs out with people, the sound gets even better because it's all soaked up really nice, and it's the vibes can just be unreal in that place.
Totally.
And like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like the bigger shows are fun for sure. Like it's like a crazy experience to like look out and see a big crowd, but you feel way like more disconnected, and I get like really like I have a hard time like reading a crowd like that, whereas like in a venue like the Black Box, it's just like you can hear every single person around you, and just you can read really what's working, what's not working. And to be fair, like that's a place where everything seems to work. I mean, people are super open-minded there.
Yeah.
Some venues, I play like pretty strictly dubstep sets, but like dubstep can be really different. There's, obviously like, I can play a really deep set or a really aggro set, and then my aggro set is like a deep set for a lot of people. So
right, okay.
It all changes, but then I go to some venues and like I drop a deep song and like the place just stands still. I'm like, oh shit. And then other places that song will just go off. Like it's crazy how different that is.
Yeah. What do you think like the cutoff point is for like amount of people before you sort of stop noticing the difference?
Before I stop noticing the difference?
Yeah, I mean, like, so for instance, you play to like 2 people and that feels bad and awkward.
It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good. You play to like 100 people or whatever and like that feels a bit better. but then playing to like 300 definitely feels better than that. But like there's got to be a cutoff, right, where it can't feel much better to play like between say 5,000 and 8,000 people. I don't think I'd notice.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, probably the biggest I've played is around 5 or 6. I've had a few shows like that. I did the Bass Nectar thing and had a few sets. I'm way more nervous for the like 10 people, 20 people shows.
Yeah, same.
Like that gives me anxiety.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
When I get up there and it's like, oh shit, this is a dead night, bad turnout, or sometimes you go places and it's like a bar scene where like they don't even really know, like they just think you're some like local, like DJ walking in and playing for, they don't really get that you're like, and I get really nervous for those. Like I get like anxiety for those shows and just like stand up there like really timid the whole time. And then like, not to say I don't get nervous for bigger shows, I do, but like it's way more comfortable for me, when there's a ton of people. But I would say probably like 500-600 is when it starts getting less fun, maybe.
Okay, so you think like 500 is the sweet spot?
300 to 500 is really nice. It does depend on the venue for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like festivals can be bigger and still be fun. But yeah, it is weird how that works. Cause like you would just think like, when you're starting off, it's like, the first time you get like 100 people, you're like, damn, this is sick.
You're
this
like,
is really,
imagine 10,000.
Cracking, right. And you just think, and then you get 200 people, and then like as you grow and you start playing bigger shows, like it gets more and more fun. But then, yeah, it does reach like this kind of tipping point where it gets worse. And I don't know what that is. I think it's just, with that many people, it's just hard to, I don't know. I don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
No, I do know that apparently the amount of like things that a human can see and like tell how many there are without using numbers is like 4 or something like that. Like if I put like 4 objects on the table, like,
I don't have to look to know that that's 4.
Yeah, like that's
right.
4. But as soon as I start putting like 5 or 6 or more objects,
it's 5. But
yeah, it is now. Well, depends. If you count the keyboard, it's 6. Yeah. But like at some point, like you have to start using numbers to like count it.
Right.
And also, apparently, the amount of objects that like a human can tell before they start using numbers is about the same as a crow. Which is like
interesting.
4 or something. I know this because my girlfriend told me. I don't.
Let's say it was super random.
Yeah, I'm not smart.
Interesting knowledge.
But like, I think like maybe the human thing could be somewhat related to that. It could also be maybe related to something like Dunbar's number, like which is the I don't know. I think it's like some theory from tribal living or something where the theory is pretty much like you can only have like ever 200
right
like meaningful relationships in your life.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, like a certain amount of friends, like you can only have a certain amount of like close friends.
Yeah, before you just start.
And if you start making more beyond that, you'll lose some of the, or yeah,
you'll knock out some old friends.
Yeah. So that's probably that's probably like
I don't know if that's related. Maybe it might be. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I've never done like I've obviously never played like a 30,000 seat arena or something like.
We did First Bank, right?
I did First Bank, yeah,
which is pretty big. That's like 7,000 or something.
7 or 8, something like that. Yeah, and I was the first DJ, so it wasn't like totally filled up yet. But yeah, that was pretty wild. Just to like look out and see that big of an arena. Probably one of the funnest sets I ever played was Costa Rica at Envision Festival, and that was like I think about 4,000 or 5,000, and that was a big crowd, but like the vibes felt really good, and like I could really see that the crowd was into it. Whereas like First Bank, because of just the way the lighting is or whatever, like I couldn't really see anything at all. I could see like some people in the front row and that's about it. So I think that's a part of it too.
Yeah, that's the thing is, when you're on a big stage like that, there's fucking shitloads of light in your face.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of got those stadium vibes.
Yeah,
and it becomes hard to see anything for sure.
But, I wonder, like, some of those guys playing these like massive shows. I mean, that's got to be pretty exhilarating just for what it is. I mean, just looking out, just seeing that many people is crazy.
Yeah, the biggest show I ever played was with KJ Sorka in the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma.
Oh, yeah.
And that was Lucky Festival.
Okay.
And that was pretty sick. That was like, I think only about 5,000, but it was super fun.
Yeah.
So you said you're from Nevada City?
Yeah, that's where I live now. I'm from that area though. Northern California is where I spent most of my life. I I've also lived right after high school. I lived in Hawaii for 2 years.
Oh, cool. Whereabouts?
I lived on Maui.
Okay, cool.
I used to be really into windsurfing.
Sweet.
And when I finished high school, I like kind of was in a place where I was like, do I go to college and just do the really standard thing, or do I just kind of pursue this life of windsurfing? I say the word professionally, but like, in order for it to be professional, you need to earn money.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
I was working like almost 40 hours a week. I was making a little bit of money from windsurfing.
Yeah.
Like, I had some sponsors, and like with sponsorship, a lot of it's like very just deal based, where like, I would just get a certain amount of money for like a certain size picture in a magazine. And if it was like a full page, you get more. And if it's a half page, you get, so there's all these like incentives and stuff. But the reality is that like, I wasn't doing enough to really make it a full-time job. And when I lived out there, I started hanging out with all these other, guys who were doing it professionally and doing the world tour and stuff. And, it's a pretty small sport. Not many people even really know what windsurfing is.
Yeah.
And so, as you can imagine, there's not a ton of money in the sport. And I started learning that even the guys who were like at the top of the world were making like almost minimum wage, or they were making like 40 grand a year or something like that.
Oh, shit. Wait, so what is windsurfing? It's where
there you go.
You're on a surfboard and you have a kite, basically, right?
No, so that's kiteboarding.
Kiteboarding, okay.
Kiteboarding's when you have the kite and you're on like a wakeboard.
Okay.
Windsurfing is you have like a sail. It looks more like a sailboat. It kind of looks like a sailboat that you would stand on.
Okay.
The board's like the size of a large surfboard, and then you kind of hold on to the sail. And it was like, it was really fun. Like, it was something, I didn't get into it because I saw windsurfing was like, I want to do that. It was something my parents did. It was like, that's what they did. That's what we did on family vacation, basically.
Right.
And so I got into it as a kid because I was just at the beach around them and doing it. And then, because there's not many people doing it, I got, pretty good at it for my age, and kind of went down that path for a bit. But then just, I was getting injured a lot, and like I said, when I learned that there's really no long-term career in it, I was like, I don't know if this is like something I really want to pursue full-time. So then after Hawaii, I moved to Oregon for a little bit, just as kind of like it was a cool place. There was windsurfing there, which is what brought me there. But then I kind of just started losing interest in it there. And then landed in Santa Cruz, which is where like things kind of really started for me. Like, I feel like there was like this weird gap in my life between high school and Santa Cruz, where I was like kind of trying this windsurfing thing, and then it just like wasn't really working out. And so then when I went to Santa Cruz, that's when I kind of felt like I was starting my like real post high school like life. Mm-hmm. And that's where I got into music.
Nice, man. Cool. Yeah, Santa Cruz is great. I was there recently.
Yeah, I love it.
A few months ago. It was awesome.
Yeah, really good music scene. Really fun culture there. Obviously, when you're a 20-year-old kid, that's like just the place to be. Yeah. And I had a ton of friends there because I grew up about 3 hours from Santa Cruz, and that was like one of the main colleges that everyone from my town went to. Like, a huge chunk of my high school went there. So when I moved there, I already had a ton of friends that I'd known from high school that were there, in college, and some not in college. And it was a fun place to party and learn about, electronic music and dubstep, which is like something that was totally foreign to me at the time.
Yeah, right. Interesting. So you got into dubstep, how long ago?
So I moved there in 2009, and
I feel like that's when dubstep was popping too. Like,
yeah, it was good. Well, and just like dubstep, but also just like the like West Coast bass thing was just kind of starting to take off then. So like,
the whole, I would like Bay Area shit.
Yeah. And so like what really kind of got me into it was like, we'd go to these, like they'd throw these renegade shows, and I had like some of my friends were like part of the guys who would bring out the sound system and, the decks, and we'd set up at like 1 a.m. out in some, federal land or something that we definitely should not have been there. And
did you remember a party that happened called I think it was called like Frosty
Fractal Forest.
Fractal Forest, this one.
Yep.
Or Frost. Yeah.
Was that it? I think that was it.
Or Frosty Fractals, maybe, or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. It was the one
I didn't go to it.
It was put on by the Wormhole guys.
Right.
Yeah, that was like one of the first shows I ever played here.
Okay. Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, I like so this was before they started the Wormhole Weekly thing, but I rocked up in, I want to say, I don't know, San Francisco, I think. And then they picked me up from there and drove me like a few hours to Santa Cruz. And then once we got to the site, it was all raining and muddy and stuff. So you couldn't like actually drive into the thing.
Right.
So there was this one guy who was like having to like sort of trip everyone down to the party down this like big muddy road thing, and he just had a 4-wheel drive. And he was like some redneck guy. Yeah. And he came and picked me up in the thing. So this was like one of my first depictions of like what an American party was like. And pretty much he picked me up and he's like, check this out, and like opened his glove box and there's just a gun in his glove box. And then he's just
Welcome to America.
Yeah, and then he's just hammering it down this mud road down to this party, and then we shot the gun at a tree and like
that's America. That's it.
Yeah. And it was fucking weird, but
yeah,
it was super fun. I think actually G Jones and Bleep Bloop all played that too.
Yeah. Was it G Jones then? Because I was going to say, I remember
it might have been.
It was Grizzly J.
When
I first like heard about him, and yeah, him in like Minnesota were like playing like these like college parties basically, and they were like the headliners of like the Renegades.
Right.
And it would just be like, yeah, like maybe 100 people all just like stupid high on drugs, and yeah. Those were funny. Those were funny parties, and there's definitely some nostalgia. Like I do kind of miss that like thing, which I assume people are still doing Renegades out there, but I haven't done that in a while. But that was like that was a fun way of doing it, but very different from like I think the classic rave scene where you would like go to a warehouse. Like there was something about being out in the forest that was I think kind of special. And
yeah, for sure. So what do you do in Nevada City now? Or Grass Valley? Why do they call it Grass Valley? Is it just because of weed?
Probably not, but yeah. I don't know the origins of that, but there's a lot of weed there. Yeah, Grass Valley, Nevada City. And then I live kind of between Auburn and Grass Valley. And I moved out there a few years ago because I've been living in Santa Cruz, and then I moved to my hometown. I moved back to my hometown, Davis, because I wanted to get more serious about school. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I'm like in my like 20s, like I think I was probably like 23 or something like that, 22, 23. And I was like, yeah, I need to like go to school. Like I'm just kind of fucking around. And I was doing a community college in Santa Cruz, but I was just screwing around. I had no idea what I was doing. I was changing my major every semester and just like taking classes that seemed fun. And so, yeah, I moved back to Davis because I was like, I need to like get more serious about like, my future, I guess. And actually my girlfriend had finished, she'd finished school at UC Santa Cruz as well. So it was just kind of like a good time to leave Santa Cruz. So we went to Davis, but like Davis was just kind of boring for us. And we lived there for a couple of years, but we're just like, it was just, yeah, it was, hometown. Like I didn't want to be there that long. So then we were like, well, where could we move that's affordable? That's kind of like, because we both love Santa Cruz, but that place is so expensive to live. And
right. Is it like more expensive than the Bay?
I don't know about more, but it's a lot. Like we were paying like $1,500 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
That seems like pretty normal. That's probably normal for Denver too, I would say.
Well, I guess that's normal, but like, we were wanting to like get a house together. Mm-hmm. Like we were wanting more space. I mean, that was for an apartment. I guess that's the main thing. It was like $1,500 for an apartment, which is not like crazy, but like we didn't want to live in apartments anymore.
Yeah, okay.
We were like, we want to like live in a house. We have some dogs. Like we just want like some space.
Especially if you like got a studio too.
Yeah.
You don't want like to have like floors where people can hear you through the floors and shit.
Right. And so I got a question for you. So we're sitting in this really nice studio.
Yeah.
But this is not your house. This is like rented studio space.
Yeah. I have a separate apartment like pretty close to here.
How does that work for you? I'm very curious about the idea, like the difference between having your studio or just in your house, whether it's your laptop or whatever, or like having a separate space that you go to work.
Yeah. So there's like bits, there's pros and cons, I think. As far as writing goes, there's more cons to having your studio separate from your house, because it's nice to be able to like just get an idea and then be like, bam, I'm in the studio already.
Right. That's why I feel like I could never do it.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I miss, but I'm actually changing that real soon. So I don't like that about it, because sometimes I'll be home, I'll be like, oh shit, I got a good idea, and then I'll basically just convince myself that the idea is not good because I can't be bothered coming to the studio. So I'll be like, it's fine. If I remember it, it's a good idea, and if I don't remember it, which I probably won't, fuck it.
Do you not have like a laptop at home that you just quickly like bang out an idea? Like,
yeah, I do actually.
MIDI notes just to remember like what you were going for or something, or?
Yeah, and sometimes I do that. But the plus side to having a studio like this is, well, obviously it's a bigger space, like room-wise, than any room in my apartment. So you get better acoustics with a bigger room generally, especially with a high ceiling. The problem with building in houses a lot of the time is the ceilings are always 9 feet tall.
Yeah, this is taller than normal ceiling, huh?
Yeah, I think this is 12.
Okay.
Or 10 and a half or something. So when you get a 9-foot ceiling, you always get a standing wave pretty much at about 100 hertz.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's just like the maths works out that way to create some resonance there. You can fix it with clouds and stuff like that. But generally there's just always this annoying like hum in the low end that's really hard to get rid of in bedrooms. So that's a pro to having a separate space like this with a high roof and stuff like that. Also, just the fact that like if I'm doing a session with like multiple people, it's a bigger room, and it's like, you know, inviting people here if they're like some professional client or something, it like feels more pro or some shit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so there's some pros, but definitely. So like I said, I'm moving to San Francisco at the start of 2020. And just it was way too expensive there to even fathom fucking having two spaces. It's almost too expensive to have one space.
That's right. Yeah.
So, so I'm gonna just have one space there, and basically my studio is going to be in the lounge room, and I'm going to have a bedroom in the house, and I'll be living with a few other people.
Okay.
Which I'm actually kind of excited for, because I like the idea of having the studio at the house again, where I can just sort of, I don't know, like do you know Squanto? He's like a dubstep guy.
Yeah, totally. I don't know him personally, but I totally know who he is, yeah.
Yeah, so I just spent a week with him in Utah a few weeks ago, just working on tunes. And he has like just a bedroom and a studio, and I was just like sleeping in the lounge room on like a blow up mattress and shit. And it was fucking awesome. It was like we'd just wake up, he'd smoke weed, I'd make coffee, we'd just like eat some food, and then we're already in the studio, you know? Like, yeah. For me, it's kind of like I'll be at home and I'll be like, all right, when am I going to go to the studio today? And sometimes it'll take me like 3 or 4 hours of just fucking around at home. Like I'll put some laundry on, I'll like make breakfast, I'll have coffee, I'll answer some emails. And like by the time I've done all of that shit, it's like I'm still not at the studio. Like whereas I could almost be passively making music as I was doing all of that stuff if my studio was just at home. Do you ever get like anxiety about going to the studio to work on music? No, I don't get that. And I also don't get writer's block or anything like that. So
weird flex.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
cool. Yeah, no,
I don't have a lot of anxiety around writing music at all. So I don't get like a ton of anxiety necessarily, like, but I do like once I'm like, as soon as I start working on something, I'm fine, which is why I just force myself to start all the time. Like I just force myself into it. But I do sometimes get like anxiety when I'm going to work on music, and I like start getting like anxious about like actually the starting, because it's so intimidating, especially like when you're like wanting to start a new tune, and it's like really overwhelming. It's like, okay, here we go. Like this is going to be a long time I'm going to put into this, and it might just suck in the end. Yeah, see, I don't think about it like that. The way I think about writing music is I'm just like, I'm going to open up a project file and I'm just going to start fucking with stuff. Yeah. And if a song starts to happen, cool. But if not, like I just have an idea that like I just want to test something in a synth or something. Right. I'm like, I just want to see like how this filter works, or like, you know, what if I modulate a thing this way? I've never thought to do that before. And I'll just like start with that kind of mentality of just like doing whatever, just like fucking around. And then usually by proxy of doing that, eventually I'll go like, oh, that gives me an idea for a song. And then I'll start like working on a song. Yeah, I've definitely worked at getting better at just like not thinking about it as like I work in FL Studio. Like I don't think like I'm opening FL Studio to make a song. I work really hard to like, I've gotten better at just like, I'm just gonna open it up and just make some sounds and kind of see where that goes. And that definitely helps a lot with that. Yeah, I think so. Like even if you just open the thing up to be like, I'm just going to make samples, you know, like I'm just going to make drums, or I'm just going to make basses. Yeah. Here's the thing is you need to do drum sessions, right? And you need to do bass design sessions and shit. Otherwise you end up sort of like getting stuck in the writing. See, I don't. And that's, I think, a big thing I need to start doing more. Well, here's my problem with it is like I don't do it a lot. I should do it more. I probably do like one kick and snare session a month, or maybe one every 2 or 3 months.
And what is that?
It's literally where I just sit down for half a day and just make kicks and snares.
Half a day.
Yeah, like just making, because I'll use those kicks and snares for the next 6 months.
You're just making your own sample pack.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll do the same with basses. But the problem I have with it is like, as I'm sort of doing this session, I'll get like halfway through it, like, 1 hour into it or something, and I'll just start making a song.
Yeah. Right. I guess honestly, that's probably one of the reasons I like the times I definitely don't make my own kicks and snares enough, like at least from scratch. I generally, that's that's something like I'll usually take a really generic one when I start an idea of a song, and then once the song's starting to build, then I'll like go back and actually like really craft the kick snare how I want it. But I do try to like open FL and be like, okay, like I'm going to make like some serum patches or something. And yeah, it like, dude, it goes for maybe 20 minutes. I'll save like 3 different patches, and then I'll land on one where I'm like, oh wait, what if I did this? And then all of a sudden, and it's like there, whatever, session I was going to have to make patches, it's just, it never works out that well. But I want to do that more, because one of the things that slows me down in production the most is getting into a tune and then just stopping for like 2 hours while I, make a bass or, do something like that, which I could have just done a long time ago, or even just sample hunting, just digging through the packs that I have or digging online for stuff. I just like will stop halfway through a tune to look for one thing, and then I just spend 2 hours doing something random, and then by the time I'm done with that, I don't even want to work on the tune anymore. And like I recognize it would be much better if I just had that all ready to go, because the artists that I talk to that do that, always tell me how beneficial it is, and I guess I just don't listen to them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that can be beneficial is just like file organization too.
I'm the worst at it.
Yeah, me too, honestly. But it's like something where if I'm not really feeling music that day or something, I'll just like start organizing shit, like putting stuff in better folders and naming shit neatly, and just like getting my whole workspace looking nice again. It's kind of like if you imagine it like a carpenter's workbench or something like that. It's like if they just have shit all over the bench, it's going to be hard to like get anything done.
My bench is piled like 2 or 3 feet high of junk, and my sample packs are all just random shit, and I'm so unorganized. It's terrible. And I honestly, I probably like should spend a lot more time on that. But I think in the same reason that like when I start making, patches, that I get distracted, when I'm at my computer, I just like, it's so much more fun to like actually just work on like a beat, whether it's like going to turn into something cool or not. It's just so much more fun to do that than organize shit.
Yeah. Totally. Well, then in that case, like that could be a way to beat writer's block, in the sense that you could like try to make yourself do something boring like that and then just procrastinate by making music.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, actually, I would say I'm pretty good about not really getting writer's block, because I just try not to think about it as writer's block. Mm-hmm. Well, okay. What I do, I think that kind of fights writer's block really well is I don't ever not turn on my computer because I'm feeling writer's block. So I'll definitely have times where I'm like not really that inspired to make music, but I've learned over the years the worst thing you can do is just not open your DAW, because some of the best songs I've made came literally like on a night when I was like about to turn my computer off and just like go play video games or something, and I just like do one thing, and then that just like all it takes is that spark, right? And then all of a sudden, 7 hours later, sun's coming up, and I've like made one of the sickest tunes. And so because I've had that experience a few times, I've learned like the worst thing you can do if you're feeling writer's block, if you're feeling uninspired, is just like not do it for a day. Mm-hmm. So I try, and I don't stick to it always, but I try, if I'm home, every single day I'm home, to at least turn on my computer, and like, I don't set necessarily a time limit, but at least just like turn on my computer and try to make something, or try to fuck around with sounds.
And how much would you say you're home versus not home these days? Do you tour a lot? Or?
Yeah, well, it definitely depends. Like I was last fall, I did a really big tour of the Whittler. We did 43 shows in 12 weeks.
Holy fuck, that's a lot.
So like I was gone. We were basically we came home every week, but we'd be home like Monday and maybe Tuesday and then go back. So
you're flying to all these shows?
Flying to every show.
Holy shit.
It was a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a
and
lot.
by a little bit, I mean like it was very overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot of flying.
And it actually was like super draining. I got the flu like 2 weeks in, and that just made the like next like 2 or 3 weeks fucking hell. But so it was like last fall, I basically just had 3 months where I didn't even turn on my computer. Like I was coming home, doing laundry, like sleeping for an entire day and then just leaving again.
Yeah.
And that wasn't very healthy, I don't think.
No, it's too much.
But we're doing it again next spring.
Okay.
And we're trying to have a few less dates, but it's already looking like it's probably going to be somewhere in that range again, I think.
Mental. At that point, are you like getting decent fees for every show still, or are you kind of like taking weird Tuesday night shows in Billings, Montana and shit?
A little bit, yeah. So I mean, definitely like, we're trying to like maximize our fees on the weekends. And then, I think that's like, if I would say there was one thing we did wrong last year, it's that we did probably take too many of those just like tiny shows that just happened to be in the same kind of area, and it just worked out. And we were like, oh, it's, just, because the thing is when you're booking it, not that we're necessarily doing the booking, but when our agents are booking it and you're like, hey, like, want to do this? And we're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
It looks like it makes sense on paper, right? But then when you're like fucking having to stay an extra day and like do another thing to like, 50 or 100 people, you're kind of like, you know what? I would forego however much money this is to be at home right now.
Exactly. So that was like definitely like a priority. Like when we started planning this next tour, which is going to be like basically the end of February until like the beginning of June. We were like, okay, let's.
It's a long tour. That's not even a fucking spring tour. That's like a full blown end of winter into start of summer tour.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's gonna be like solid 3 months. But what I would say we're doing, it's gonna be like the tour is gonna be longer. It's gonna take up more time, but we're having probably less shows in that time. So like the goal is that like we're not just completely slammed like we were on the last time, and we're turning down definitely some of those smaller gigs because it's too much. But at least for this year's definitely been a lighter year, and I would say I'm home. Definitely during the summer, like doing the festival thing. It's like you're gone pretty much every weekend. But then, Monday through Thursday, I'm home, and I usually always take like one day when I get home to just not work on music. I need kind of a break, but then I get that itch, a day or two later, and I'm really stoked right now. I had all of November. I had one show in November, and then the rest of the month off, and then I actually have like pretty much the next like 2 months pretty almost completely off, which I'm really stoked on because I love just being home and making music. That's definitely like it's so much fun for me.
So really is the goal in those 2 months to basically try and get a release together or just a bunch of tracks together for the spring tour?
I prioritize just making playable tunes versus releases.
Okay.
Probably tied into like just like the general anxiety I'll get from just like just like finishing a tune. I just like I don't like I get like it's really hard for me to like grind that last 10% of a tune for everyone. It's not like I'm special.
Yeah, I have a theory. I think the last 10% is actually more like 50%.
Oh, dude, I could say even more than that probably sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, because like lengthwise to getting a tune to 2.5, 3 minutes long, you can do that in like a few hours, really.
Sure, yeah.
But it's like getting all the polish done and the little fills and like just the little sweeps and effects bits and like fucking getting the mix down like fully nailed, which seems like you would say to someone, oh yeah, this tune's like, 80%, 90% there. But really it's like 40% there because it's like all that extra, just the tiny shit takes so fucking long.
Well, and then I don't know if it's the same for you, but it's like you just start questioning everything at that point. Like every single thing you add, you're like, does it actually make it better?
Yeah, right.
Does it actually make it better? And then like you'll spend like half a day working on something, and at the end of the day, pretty much scrap everything you've done. Like sometimes I'll spend an entire night like trying to polish up a tune, and then at the end I pretty much take away everything other than like one riser. I'm like, that's the only thing that actually like needs to stay. And so time wise it can take forever. So I prioritize, I mean, just in general, like I think, for me it's more fulfilling to just have a bunch of cool new beats to play out when I'm playing shows than having like polished releases. And I probably my polished releases probably suffer because of that, because like I don't spend enough time perfecting my releases. I usually like kind of my what I've noticed the last like couple years at least, I basically will make a tune. I usually have like when I get an idea for a song, I'll actually stop once I get like kind of the basic like flow, the basic kind of beat. I actually stop working on it, even if I'm stoked on it. I stop and I like sit on it for a day, and then I come back to it. Then I like wait for like a night where I have like, okay, I can work on this all night. I've nothing planned or whatever, and then I go into it. So I get like maybe 30% of a tune, 40% of a tune, and then the next night I come in and really like make it bang. But then I get to that 80% mark. It's totally playable. It's going to be great live. I put on my USBs. I go out for the weekend. I start playing it. Sounds good. Does well. Maybe it doesn't. But when it does well, I'm like, cool, this is an awesome tune. I'm stoked on it. But then I never want to go back and finish that last 20%.
Right.
And then it's not till like 7 or 8 months later that I'm kind of tired of playing it live. And I'm like, okay, I should probably release this now. And then I just feel like I have to like cram 1 or 2 nights of like that polishing. And so what ends up happening is I make way more tunes than I finish, which is, again, like, it's fulfilling for me because I can go out and play shows and play a ton of shit that no one's heard. But then, you know, when it comes down to my releases, I wish I spent more time perfecting them. But, you know, I also have tried to just recognize that at that point, like, is it more valuable to me to like get a release perfect or just keep creating new ideas? And because that's way more fun.
Because it's like to get 4 tracks, maybe like totally locked and good to go for a release might take you like a month.
Yeah.
Even if they're all 80% done.
I have 3 EPs right now, 3 4-track EPs that are like basically there. Mm-hmm. Honestly, one of them, I probably won't do anything between now and the time I send the pre-masters in. Like, seriously, like, it's like, but I'll just sit on it for like the next like 2 months.
Yeah, you just got to like make sure you're fine with it
and just listen to it every day. And then all it takes is one day to just be like, fuck it. Like, now I'll send in the pre-masters.
I found that with a lot of tunes in the past too. Like, I'll make it in like 8 hours or something, or less, sometimes like 4 hours. And I'll be like, oh, this tune's pretty sick, but like I didn't spend long enough on it. So like I don't really value it enough because I didn't invest enough effort into it.
Totally.
And then I'll like go a year without even listening to it or anything. And then I'll pull it out again and I'll sort of forget how much effort I invested or anything and be like, you know what, this is pretty sick. Yeah. And then I'll just like throw it into a DAW, boost the highs a little bit and then put it out.
Totally. Yeah. And like, I think we do, like, because I definitely do the same where like I correlate like the time I spend on a tune to how good it is.
Yeah, it's like almost value equals effort equals value or something like that.
Yeah, which is just like which not is bullshit. Really true. Doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, like some of my sickest tunes I made pretty quick, and then others that I wish I'd never released I spent way too long on. You know, like there's definitely there's no correlation there. But yeah, I mean, my general philosophy is just like, I want to be having fun. If it gets to a point where it's really feeling like a grind, I think that's one of the reasons why when I get to that point, I'm just like, just release it. Like it's not fun to work on anymore. I'm not getting any like fulfillment out. It's just not enjoyable. Just put it out so that other people can hear it. And maybe it's not the best thing. Maybe I could have done better. You're always going to be like, maybe I could have like made this song better, but it is what it is. And it was like it captured several hours of my life that I was really into that idea. And then, a lot of people at that point, they like get timid about releasing stuff, but I actually just like I feel like I'm pretty good at just being like, no, that's it. Like it is what it is. It's not perfect. And, I hope you like it. And that's kind of my attitude with releases.
I also think with creating stuff in like a night or whatever, or 2 days or whatever, I honestly sometimes feel like it's not like a large enough snapshot of like who I am musically.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, I'm like, if I make something in one day, it's like maybe my influences on that day were skewed massively towards a certain style or whatever, which is probably a good thing because you don't want, to make the same sounding thing every time. Sure. But like, I kind of feel like I need to work on it and then work on it again like a few months later and then a few months later and a few months later. So it takes like a larger snapshot of like my preferences musically.
Interesting.
Rather than just taking like this
do you make big changes?
Sometimes, yeah. Like sometimes I'll stem it. Like I'll get a like could be like a 60 channel session, and then I'll stem the whole thing out into like 8 buses, and then just reload those 8 buses into a new session, just chop it all up and like fuck with it.
Wow. Okay.
And I would say that's like the biggest change that I would do.
Yeah.
Like basically rearranging the whole thing and like basically remixing my own tune.
Sure. Yeah. But then do you find that often will lead to just like when you go back at the end, do you listen to that one and go, I'm glad I'd like that actually is cooler than what the original idea was? Like, do you find that actually helps a lot?
Most of the time, yeah, I'll listen to the original version and be like, oh yeah, that's definitely like a shittier version of what I made out of that. Or like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I heard John Hopkins say in an interview once, he said almost every track he like has to build something beautiful and then like destroy it to make something like grow out of it.
Okay. Yeah. It's deep. That's
yeah. And I feel like that's kind of how I work a little bit too. Like I'll make something and it'll just be like too sterile or too, I don't know, clean or something like that. So I'll have to like destroy it in a certain way. And then a new thing can kind of grow out of it and be this more interesting, weirder sort of morphed version of a few things.
Yeah, interesting.
And I feel like that's really hard to do in a day because like...
Oh, of course,
you don't like have the sort of capacity to just like switch modes like in your brain that quick or whatever.
Well, I know the Whittler, he does that a lot as well. A lot of his tunes were like Frankenstein things from other tunes where he would like go back and take pieces I don't do too much of that. And I wonder if part of it is just because I like worry that I'm like gonna fuck it or not fuck it up because obviously you always have that saved project, but I guess like I worry that I'm gonna spend a bunch of time for nothing. I don't know. Maybe I probably should try that more. Do you play those? So I think that's a part of it too. Do you play those songs like? So you have an idea. You said like a month later you'll work on it again. Are you playing it for that month?
No, not all the time. Like quite often I won't play a song until it's like, well, actually, I don't know. It's hard to say. It depends because a lot of the stuff I make isn't playable anyway. Like a lot of the stuff I make is too soft, I reckon, for sets.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's like too glitchy or too like down tempo-y or
it's not something you'd play live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
If it's a banger though, yeah, like I'll be playing it if I've got shows. I don't play that many shows. I play I've got 7 shows this month. Oh, sorry, is it December? Yeah. I have 7 shows in December.
And that's more than...
That's way more than usual. Yeah, like usually I'll have like 1 or 2 shows a month.
Do you not do like tours with a bunch of shows just...
I used to. I kind of stopped because I had a few experiences where it just fucked me up. I was just like, this is way too much. I would like to get into doing that again.
Yeah.
But I want to do it like carefully, like I don't think I ever want to do a 40 show tour again.
Yeah.
Actually, I have never done. The biggest one I did was 35 shows, and I don't think I ever want to do that again. It was like 35 shows in 50 days.
Yeah.
So it was almost every day.
Yeah.
And it's just too much. Like doing anything like every day for that long is too much, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, just obviously in general in life, like balance is good, and yeah, I mean, I ideally would like to just play like maybe one or 2 shows a week, but I've been doing this like as my full time ever since I dropped out of school. I've been doing this as my full time job, and unfortunately, I'm in a position where it's like I kind of just have to. I'm not making enough per show where I can do that. And I'm terrible at like making money outside of like, I don't do merch. I'm so bad at merch. I'm so bad at, releases and a lot of artists do other things like teach and stuff like that, like you do. But,
yeah, well, what I've done lately, I mean, I've been doing the teaching thing for like 10 years, but
right.
I've been doing other shit lately, like starting other companies. Like I started a record label and then I started 2 record labels. I started one for music and then one for samples.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, samples are good if you want to make like extra income.
Yeah. So you like sell them like on Splice and stuff then?
Yeah, so I have like
I don't exactly know how that works.
So basically what you do is like you find a label that has a Splice deal, like my label, for instance, or any label that will release your stuff. And you make a sample pack, you put it on you give it to the label and they usually will interface with Splice. It's pretty rare that like individual artists, I think, will like directly put stuff out on. I mean, Splice have their own label, and I guess people put stuff out on there. But I have like a non-exclusive agreement with them where I can also just put them on my website as well.
Okay.
So I sell them like both on Splice and my website.
Okay.
Definitely creating like extra streams of income, I think, is like a smart thing to do, so you don't have to do those painful tours.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And then that way you can kind of like flex a little more, I think, on promoters too, where you can just, or you can just be like, oh yeah, you want me to play for like fucking $600 in like, you know, just because it's like a big name.
Right.
I'll be like, fuck that, I don't care.
Yeah. That's great. Like, you know, I definitely get put in the position sometimes where I just have to take those gigs because it's like, fuck, like
that's the thing. Like promoters can flex. They can be like, we know you need to do it. So
yeah. No, that is a goal of mine definitely right now. Is I'm actually working on a new logo right now. And as soon as that's done, I do want to like do merch. You know, I get hit up all the time. I have like 2 t-shirts basically right now out. And I made the design myself, and it was like pretty like amateur, I think. But I want to get this new logo and like spend some money and time working with artists and like make some actual merch and stuff. And then I've definitely like started, you know, looking into like more, you know, commercial type music stuff like that, like sample packs or, you know, selling beats, that kind of stuff. Cause for me, totally. Like, I get the most enjoyment out of just making music. Playing shows are really fun. I love playing shows, but definitely not that kind of a grind. And so, yeah, like it would be cool to be able to not have to rely on just grinding on traveling for income.
Especially like I always wonder like how sustainable it is too. Like a lot of artists now who are doing music as their full-time thing, who are in their like, you know, 20s or 30s or whatever. It's like, what's that going to look like in your 60s and 70s?
Oh, absolutely. Because how old are you?
I'm 31.
Oh, same. Okay. Yeah. So I just think even like 40, like
right.
Dude, I think even like next year, like how like, you know, I got the spring tour coming up and I'm already like, oh man, that's going to be a shitload of travel. Like it's, you know, it's like, I'm already like thinking about that. And so, I couldn't imagine.
Is like in America, well, in Australia, you have this thing called superannuation. And it's a necessary fund where if you're employed by an employer, they will take some of your paycheck every month and put it in a fund for you. So when you reach like 65 or whatever the retirement age is there, I think it's 65.
Okay.
They just have a pool of money waiting for you that you were mandatorily paying the entire time you're working.
It's like basically like our Social Security, right?
I think the equivalent here is 401k maybe, or...
Well, 401k is not something you have to pay into.
You don't have to. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. In America, you don't have to do it. In Australia, you do.
Well, that's Social Security you have to pay.
Oh, true. And then when you retire, they give you money.
You get like you get checks.
Oh, true. Okay, so it sounds like that then.
You probably knowing your government and our government, you probably get more money than we get from Social Security. And
not with the exchange rate, but like
well, I'm saying like we have like serious problems with our, not to get like too like into the political side of it, but we have like serious problems with Social Security where like I've been told since I was like in high school that like by the time I retire, Social Security won't be there anymore. Even though I'm paying into it, by the time I retire, like our government's just like they keep dipping into that funds. I don't know.
So American DJs who are like citizens here and shit are paying Social Security, or they should be at least.
Should be. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, so you're fine. Yeah, because I always think about that with artists. Like, I mean, at least in my case, I don't pay Social Security as far as I know. I pay tax. And I don't pay superannuation in Australia because I'm not employed in Australia. So like, I always wonder like, you know, what's that going to look like later in life, you know, because that's like one thing.
Start saving.
Exactly. Yeah. That's another thing. I think like
sell off your studio when you're 60.
Honestly, the studio doesn't cost that much.
Yeah.
It looks expensive, but it's like the panels, I worked it out the other day. All the paneling here is like $3,000. The speakers are $5,000. The desk is like $2,000. I mean, all up, like all the gear in this room is probably like $20,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not that bad.
Sure. On the scale things for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've been collecting gear for a long ass time too.
Yeah.
The actually most expensive thing in here that is probably the modular.
Sure.
Which is fucking silly.
But in general, you're right that like the longevity of all this is something I definitely like think about a lot. I'm actually, so I said I was in school. I dropped out. I'm actually halfway through a master's degree
Cool.
in special education teaching.
Dude, nice. Awesome.
So I was like on track to basically be a teacher, and I always say like that's still actually my plan A. Like music is just kind of like this detour that I'm doing.
Right.
You know, basically I was in school. I was doing online school. Cause that just was like so much better for like my productivity, even though it sounds like it's not, it actually, like I go into lectures, I would just space out in every lecture and never learn anything. So I was like, you know, online school, just like, give me the work, give me the reading, let me just do it. And so it actually worked out really well. So I got through my bachelor's doing that. And then I got like halfway through the master's, and throughout that time I was making music and starting to really like grow as an artist. And it was always just like, it was just literally my hobby. For like when I was done with schoolwork, it was just fun to work on music. But then like I started getting like paid to play shows, and I started traveling for it. And then I got to a point where I was like, you know what, like I could actually, well, it was basically last August when I was about to start the Whittler tour. I was like, well, there's no way I can do school during the tour. So like I have to like at least put a hold on school. I did the tour and I was like, you know what, like I can build off this tour and probably like, you know, sustain myself financially on music right now. I'll never be able to do this again in my life, I don't think, if I don't just do it now. And so in January of last year, I dropped out of school, which was like really scary because I put a ton of money into it on student loans and a ton of time. And I've done all these courses that I may have to redo if I ever go back. Cause you know, they changed the curriculum.
Yeah, you couldn't just get like a recognition of prior learning or whatever.
So yeah, I mean, my plan is someday to probably go back, and if and when I go back, like yeah, like hopefully most of those classes will transfer and it'll be cool. But yeah, there's a chance I might have to redo stuff. But anyways, yeah, so I was like, you know what, like I want to just kind of take this opportunity and just enjoy it, because you know, it was never even like a goal of mine to like do this full time, because I didn't even like think that it was like a reality. I was like I've been DJing since 2009. Like I love electronic music and dubstep, and the whole like playing shows is really fun. But like the idea of being like an artist that could like make money touring was just so foreign. I didn't think that, like, a lot of people like strive to get there. It wasn't even like a possibility for me. So then when I got there, I was just like, damn, I need to like just do this, because
I think it's more than possible now than ever, just because electronic music in general is so big.
Sure.
Like when I got into electronic music, probably like 2006 or something is when I started using Ableton. And at that time there was like not a lot of people even online talking about it. Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of shows to go to, and like there definitely wasn't a lot of ways to make money.
When you were in Australia there too, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's probably even less than it was here. Yeah.
Speaking of shows, how do you go about like putting together DJ sets? Because I mean, when you came in here, you're looking at that. Like generally, I mean, especially for a back-to-back, that was I'm pointing to a whiteboard for those listening. That was a Kill Bill back-to-back, and the problem it's not really, I guess it's a problem, is that when we play Kill Bill sets, we generally do solo sets too. So we have to know what's off the table for our solo sets before we can put our solo sets together.
Interesting, yeah.
So that's why we have to do this. We have to figure out basically exactly the track list that we're playing for the Kill Bill set so we can put our solo sets together. Because otherwise, you know, like I have a bunch of tracks on there, like originals and stuff, and it's like if I'm usually doing the solo set before the Kill Bill set, and if I play them during the solo set and then we get into the Kill Bill set and I'm like, fuck, I just did a solid set of like 70 BPM shit in my solo set, and now if Chris wants to play all his 70 BPM stuff in the back-to-back, it's like I got nothing left and he just has to play all his shit because now he doesn't have anything at 86 or something like that.
Yeah, I never thought about that. So when I did the tour with the Whittler, we probably on like a quarter or maybe even a third of the shows, like we pitched it every show. We were like, if like we'll do solo sets, and if they want, we'll do a back-to-back. It was either, I think we agreed on it was either going to be 70. Yeah, it was like either 90-minute solo sets or 75-minute solo sets with a 30-minute back-to-back at the end.
Right.
And but the thing with that is that even though we do play a lot of like similar artist tunes and it's a lot of similar tunes, it's pretty much all 140.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it is all 140. Like we almost, I mean, I don't know if he does. I almost never play anything other than 140, which I guess sounds really like, to some people that sounds like crazy, because I know a lot of DJs just like bounce all over the BPM range. But I find you can play a set of 140 for 90 minutes and it can be a very different 90, you know, it can change a lot throughout that 90 minutes.
That's a good creative limitation, actually, I guess. Just like,
yeah. I mean, like, I've actually never thought about it as a creative limitation, but like, I think, at least for me producing, like, I almost always start my tunes at 140, and for at least like the stuff I play out, I almost exclusively make 140. And I always joke with people, it's like, I haven't made all the 140 tunes I want to make yet. Like I still come up with ideas that are different than anything else I've made. And, you know, what do you DJ on? Do you use CDJs?
I use Ableton. For the back-to-backs, I use CDJs. Okay. For my solos, I just use Ableton.
Okay, so yeah, so I use CDJs, and like, I don't know, I guess you could probably just say some of it's just laziness, but it's really nice in 140 to just
not have to change it.
Not really have to worry too much. Yeah. What your problem you're saying is that like you have to worry about playing certain BPM tunes, because if you do a back-to-back and you get into that BPM, you might have used up all the ones you wanted to play.
Oh yeah, and also just like a lot of the stuff I play, I think is it doesn't fall into like genres so easily sometimes. Yeah. So it's like when we're trying to figure out mixes, like so I don't know, like, do you plan your sets at all before you play them usually, or do you just sort of like wing it and just?
I plan a lot.
You plan a lot. Okay.
I plan a lot.
Yeah, me too. And I think like partially the reason why is because every time I don't, I'll fucking train wreck a ton of mixes just because like.
Well, because you're jumping between BPMs.
Well, I kind of have a formula, and the formula doesn't really change. I start at 70, which for all intents and purposes is 140.
Sure.
And then I work my way up to like 72 and a half, which is kind of like 144, I guess, 145.
It's like that rhythm speed, basically.
Yeah, and then I play all my 75 shit, which is more of the rhythm shit. That's more,
yeah.
And then I go from 75 to 80 and play a bunch of like 160 shit.
Okay.
And then I go to 86. So I basically go from like dubstep to rhythm to whatever 80 is. It's just like slightly somewhere between dubstep and halftime,
yeah,
and then more into the straight halftime shit. And then if I have enough time, sometimes I'll play some like glitch hop at the end, like 100 BPM stuff.
Yeah. So I actually, side note, I pretty much DJed dubstep my whole life. I got really burnt out of it in like 2011 or 12, which is actually right before I started producing. That's when I got burnt out of dubstep, and I had like a hardcore glitch hop phase, and that's when I learned about you.
Oh, nice.
And I used to play a ton of your music and Cone Sound and Ill Gates. And yeah, I had like a really like deep just hip hop, probably, or not hip hop, glitch hop, probably like a year. Where that was all I was playing in sets, and I play a little bit of dubstep. And then right after that, I started making music, and that's when I kind of went back to just pretty much strictly dubstep. But yeah, one nice thing about sticking with 140 though is that like I don't have to worry too much about. Even though I plan out my solo sets pretty straight, you know, I don't. It's not that I stick to it 100%, but I have a pretty, like, I plan out pretty much what my set will be. I mean, actually, I plan out almost down to the tune order, you know, everything, what my set will be. But then, like, I have the freedom to change it pretty easily because I'm just sticking in 140, and I can very quickly go from, like, if it's hype and people are really into it, I can just keep going with that. And when I see that people are getting kind of tired of that, I go deeper or whatever, and I can kind of feel it out, all sticking within that range.
And how often do you think like you veer from the plan that you
Pretty rarely.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say more now because I'm playing a lot of shows where people like are coming to see me. Like back when I was like, you know, opening a lot, you know, it's much more like reading the crowd type thing. Whereas now I feel, you know, I still want to I still want to say I'm reading the crowd, but the reality is that like, I also want to show the crowd my sound. Like I have all these songs I've been working on. I really want to show them. Like, you know, it's not like it's crazy different from my normal sound. So I assume if people came to see me, they'll like them. And it's like, I want to show you everything I made. And if people aren't really feeling a tune that's like heavy and like the next one was going to be heavy, I'll still probably play it because like maybe they will like that one better. And in general, like I try to look at my performances just like, this is me. Like if you don't really like this, like I'm sorry, but like this is kind of, you know, which is way, you know, off from what traditional DJing is. But I think the more I've, you know, grown as a producer versus just a DJ, like the more I've built up my catalog of sounds, like I look at live sets as more like I really just want to show what I've been making and all these songs that I'll never finish and release.
That's kind of the way I feel about sets too. Is like if I don't specifically put a certain type of set together, and I just like wing it. It's like sure, the set will still be fine if I wing it, but I won't play a lot of new shit because like I'm gonna just play whatever's gonna work after the one that I'm playing. Yeah, and if I don't specifically figure out a way to like quickly get between shit, then there's going to be a ton of shit at like 86 BPM that I probably won't get to, or like a ton of shit at like 80 even. You know, sometimes I kind of go between like just winging sets and then doing very specifically planned ones. And whenever I do the specifically planned ones, I'm able to sort of like, you know, get through all the tempos I want to get through, right? Because I've figured out ways to do that and then play all the new shit that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. But if I do the completely winging it thing, it's like fucking, I'll be lucky if I get to the 75 BPM shit. Like I'll just get stuck, like sort of mixing shit and being like, fuck, I don't know how to move on. Yeah. Without like definitely figuring out like because it's really hard to like, I mean, sure, I could try and figure it out live and be like, oh, I could probably just like work this out. But you don't want to like train wreck a mix. And then you also, you know, you can think like, oh, maybe if I do this like fade degree / thing, like I could maybe just like go into another thing. But I know there's always that doubt that like, oh, maybe that'll just be fucking horrible. So I just want to do that.
Do you find it's harder to mix your own music on the fly? Because I have a like if I'm just like, I mean, like I said, I really haven't done it in a while, but I don't know, sometimes I'll play like just smaller, like not like official gigs. I'll just, you know, play at a house party or I don't know, some kind of event where it's not really like a show. And then like I play a lot of other people's music and I can mix other people's music on the fly pretty well. And it like sounds good.
Yeah, and maybe because you're not as precious about it. So you just kind of like, fuck it, I'm just going to throw another beat over this thing.
That's totally it. Yeah. With my own songs, I'm like, no, this is how it's supposed to sound.
Right,
like,
putting anything else over it like sounds
like I really don't do double drops with my own music for that reason because it's like,
do you do doubles like in your set with other people's stuff?
So I've listened to a couple of your podcasts and was it
I was talking with Patrick about doubles,
Yeah. So I found that it was funny hearing you guys talk about that. And
I still don't really get it. Like,
I didn't understand that some of the guys were doing like, what'd you say, like 4 and 6
some people
and 8?
Do 4 and 8. Yeah,
it's fucking insane.
Squanto does 8.
Yeah, I don't even know how I could do that. I have too bad ADD for that. I think like that's too much to keep track of.
Yeah, since like learning about it a bit more, I have pulled a few triples off in my sets, but like
I don't think I've ever done a triple.
Yeah, I've done a couple, but like it's like not 3 beats playing over one another. It's like one solid beat, and then another one is just like maybe a vocal thing, and then another one is like, you know.
Or maybe like the intro of one coming in and that's where you're at 3 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean like
but does that even count? Like I don't think that counts unless it's 3 like drops playing over one another, right?
I mean if you're trying to brag about a triple drop, then you probably would you probably need to have them all. But you know
I mean, I could, but like why? It would sound bad.
I think the other thing is like only certain genres work. Like rhythm's really good for that kind of stuff because it's it's all these like quarter beats, like it works out like you.
And all the sound design is like very similar.
It's similar, yeah. Whereas like, and again maybe it's just because I know my music so well, but with my music, like as soon as I like bring in like a second song, then I feel like it's fucking with what my original idea was, and I don't want that necessarily.
Yeah, if it's not like adding to it or something.
Back when I was just strictly a DJ, I was totally about the like finding the sick double drops. Like, I mean, I think when you're purely a DJ, that's like where you get a flex basically. Like that's where you get to show off your skills. But then the more I started making my own music, I think I just like, I didn't feel like I needed to like show off anything. And I realized like, if a song's not sounding good enough on its own, go back to the studio and make the song better, like if the drop isn't,
build the double into the song.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like not to like tie it into like not to hate on the guys that do the like 1, 2, 3, building up the crowd thing. Cause like I think that's like definitely cool in the right setting. But I always go like, if you need to like hype up your drop more than it already is, then like go back and make that drop more hype. It's like I kind of just think the music needs to do the work.
I feel that, but also like I mean, I never get on the mic. I used to like a little bit, and then I had like a few bad experiences with it, and I was like, fuck that.
What do you mean by bad experience? Just saying stupid shit.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but like, basically, I got on the mic once and was talking about like I was on MDMA, and I was talking about like all sorts of incorrect shit.
Okay,
and, and I'm glad that it happened a long time ago. Otherwise, there might be videos of that on the internet, and it would be the kind of shit that if people seen it, they'd be like, that's super questionable.
Okay.
It was pretty fucked.
I mean, drugs, get weird.
Yeah, it was bad. So like, so I haven't touched a mic basically since then.
Oh, so you do like at least like, hey, I'm Mr. Bill?
No, I don't at all.
Really?
No, I walk on stage, I play, and I leave. I don't talk at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, guys do that. I feel.
But here's the thing: is like I don't hate on people that do. Like whenever I see someone who's doing like the 1, 2, 3 thing, like jumping on a table and stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, like it's just part of the performance, right? Like it's hyping people up and being a bit of a cheerleader or whatever. Yeah, it's like it seems fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's not for me personally. And
I wouldn't say like I hate on it necessarily. Like I think some people do it really well. Like I've definitely seen some artists where it's like, yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, like Opio, man, he crushes it.
I haven't seen him in a while. I saw him a long time ago. He was another glitch hop guy I used to love playing.
Yeah, he's hypey as fuck.
Is he?
He's great at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the opposite of that is like some people like I guess Cohen Sound, right? Like they make hypey ass music,
right?
But like when they were getting on the mic, when I saw them play, I was like, oh, they're kind of like. You can't really, like, Dirt Monkey talked about this in the podcast we did too. It's like you can't really get on the mic and talk. Like you need to like yell.
Right.
And you need to be like hypey about it, or it seems weird. Like it's very weird to just be like, "Hi guys, I'm here to like play."
You have to have like a tight package of what you're gonna say, and get it out. You can't just you can't let people like, okay, well, what's he like? Where's he going with this or something?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I always love how Space Jesus does it. He just kind of drops in like little tiny like anecdotes and quips and just.
Do you reckon he like thinks heavily about those? Like, do you think that's like part of his set prep?
Don't forget to recycle, guys, or something like that. I just think that's like. Do I think he practices?
Or do you think he just like thinks of that shit on the spot?
I don't really know him that well. I mean, like we've like met a couple times, had a few shows, but I don't know him well enough to say if like it's something he like thinks about. The way that I view it is just like he probably is just. He knows there's a breakdown coming up and there's going to be kind of a gap, and he just kind of thinks of something on the spot, kind of funny to say, and I don't know. I just think it's kind of a funny thing to hear, and it's tasteful. It's not like he's like talking over the whole set. It's just like times when the music's died down and there's a little bit of a like kind of people waiting for the next drop or something. He just puts in a little quip, and I think that can be funny. The only one that really like starts to bother me is when it's just like every single drop, the person's on the mic yelling and screaming, and it's not even like that. I don't like them as a person for doing it. It's more just like. I want to hear the build up and the drop. Like from a musical perspective, like if I'm in the crowd, like I'd like to hear how the song was meant to be heard. Yeah. And that's why I made that comment of like, if the drop's not good enough, go back and make it better. Cause I just, when I'm in the crowd, like I'm totally down to like, hear the DJ's thoughts and, occasionally like, hype up the crowd or something. But it's like the main thing I want to hear is your music.
But you could also argue that like, if you need to introduce yourself at the start of the set, then you should just make your visuals better, right?
Oh, checkmate, you got me. Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case either.
I've never done like custom visuals. I've always just sent them.
Yeah. Well, it's expensive.
Send them my
logo. It's definitely much cheaper to
put
just
up my logo and spin it around in circles or whatever you want to do with it.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I do it more as just like probably like the main thing I want to get on the mic for is just to like shout out the DJ that played before me. Just as like someone who spent years opening, it just always felt nice when the headliner was like, hey, give it up for, Pushloop, like, whoever's, like, so I just, when I get on, I want to make sure whether I'm a headliner or whether I'm like support or, whether I'm an opener at like a really big show, like if there's someone before me, I still want to just like shout them out. It's just like, hey, give it up for so-and-so. And I always like, get on my phone like right before I, get up there and make sure I know who it is. And just because I think that's kind of like just a respectful way to, a lot of DJs don't want to talk at the end of their set. Like if I was, playing after you didn't want to say anything. I'd like to give you hey, like Mr. Bill, give it up one time, so like,
Right.
and then after that, there's like an awkward pause if I don't say anything. So then I just go, I'm Pushloop, like, let's do this or let's get weird or something like that. And then maybe I'll like halfway through the set, if it's just like, if there's like a big transition that gets a little slow or I don't know, maybe I'll like say like, maybe I'll say like, here's like a brand new one. You're the first to hear this. And that's not even like supposed to be a flex. It's more just like, hey, this is like some brand new shit. Like, let me know what you think, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I say it, but maybe so people know, a lot of people ask for IDs and stuff. And so that's why I want to like, I don't know, shout out certain tunes, whether if it's a friend's tune who just sent me, like I think last night, the only shout out I did, it's like halfway through the set, I dropped this new Thelem and On El tune. And I just like, hey,
Thelem's sick.
Yeah. I was just like, hey, like new Thelem, just like.
Is he Denver based or?
He lives in LA.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
So like, and then at the end of the set, just thanks for everything. And yeah, I guess, I don't know, maybe I'll stop saying my name, but I feel like it's worth saying. Just, the thing is, a lot of people at shows, especially like festivals, can be so fucked up. They don't even know who's playing. So it's more just like, hey, if you're curious, this is Pushloop, like, just so you know. Like,
but also like, I feel that too. But also like my other thought is like, fuck it. Like if they like the set, they'll figure it out. Like, in that sense, it's like,
sure.
If they go to the effort to kind of be like, who the fuck was that? And like, think about it a bunch, it kind of like gets in their head more, I think.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to say though, because probably a lot of people are just don't give a shit. And they're just like, you know what? I didn't know who it was and I can't be fucking bothered figuring it out. So who cares? And like, don't become a fan. I don't know how often that's happening though.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know about you. Like, I don't really I don't take drugs at shows anymore.
Me either, yeah.
Like back when I was younger and getting into it, I definitely was into that. And I don't know, I went to a lot of festivals where like I would look at like a stage and see like a few artists in a row who I liked. And I would just go park myself at that stage and wouldn't really care necessarily who was playing at the time. I would just, if the music was good, I'd stick around. And
it was more just about like the festival experience.
It was more just about, the festival experience. And, back then, like just experimenting with drugs and just kind of like having fun, partying. And then the older I got, the more I just kind of like lost interest in that. But then now when I go to those shows, I always think that, there's probably some people there that are like that, where they have no idea even where they are, what planet they're on or something, But
at the end, and
I forget sometimes
if that's the case though, they're like, don't even know what planet they're on. It's like, are they really going to become a fan at that moment?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, no, like, Me saying Pushloop means nothing at that point. Yeah, I guess. Exactly. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's like, what? What's a Pushloop?
Right. Then I'm just, yeah, totally. I don't know. But whatever.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, sweet. It was really good talking to you, man.
Dude, likewise, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for having me.
Is there anything you want to plug? You got dates in the spring with the Whittler?
I have one show, Sioux City, Iowa, for December 21st. That's my last show of the year.
Okay.
And then, the big tour with the Whittler. We should be announcing the first phase of dates just after New Year's, like beginning of the year.
Nice.
And keep an eye out and hopefully come to your city. And
Fuck yeah, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, man. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Mr. Bill Podcast.